right. Welcome to the Sober Heathen podcast. I am the Sober Heathen. I'm Scott. Um, Feels like it's been forever, but it's only been maybe around a week since I did a podcast. That's what the podcast is. Let's try that again. That's what this podcast is going to be all about, kind of giving an update of where things are with me, what I've been going through. And that's the whole point of this thing. That's how it started. And then it turned into a place where people were gracious and kind and awesome enough to come on and share their stories with me and you guys that do listen to the podcast. So thank you again to all that listen. And please find me on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Facebook. But more importantly, where you listen to podcasts, the YouTubes, the Rumbles, the Spotify's, the Apple podcast. Do whatever you can there to follow or comment or to get the podcast out there, because I'm going to have to start sending out tweets or links again to the old podcasts so people can hear those. They were all great. I had a bunch coming all at once. I really don't want anybody to miss out on hearing the stories that people come on and shared. They were all great, and they all mean the world to me, to be a part of sharing their stories. Um, so, um, talked a lot about in previous podcasts, about how the first 6 months of this go was really easy. Maybe is a shitty term, but it really was. And I talked about how the first 6 months, this time when I really decided, I was done and I'm going to make this work and I'm going to do everything that I needed to do. And it was like 6 months in a day, and then just I felt like crap. Everything just went to poop. And then it was somewhere, after a couple of weeks, things picked back up. I've been changing meds and trying to get this crap under control. This depression and anxiety and all this stuff, and things were going pretty good. Then you had a bunch of podcasts, and then the last few weeks, it's probably been 2-3 weeks now. The wheels fell off. Not to the point to where I wanted to drink or did drink. It just fell off. It just didn't seem like I was ever going to get a job. The anxiety and the pressure of, the bills that are already in collection, they're just sitting there, and, not being able to pay my fines at the courts. It's like a gun to your head when it comes to the courts and child support and things like that when you get behind it, because you just, they'll come get you for these things and put you in a cage, and it makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Oh, you owe us money, or oh, you're not paying child support, let me go ahead and put you in jail because that's going to help things. It's like, I know there are deadbeats out there, and I don't say dads because it's not just dads out there. There could be deadbeat parents on both sides. Um, but putting people in a cage doesn't change anything. Um, I'm not paying not because I don't want to. Before, everything fell apart on me when it came to alcohol, I was working and I never felt behind. I was always paying my child support and always getting things for my kids. Probably too much stuff. That they didn't really need. I want to pay and support my children, and not only just my children, but I want to be able to help support their mom, who's been doing this by herself since I put myself into treatment all of last year, basically. And I tip my cap, I give her a high five, from a distance, whatever. The relationship there is, it's not great. I don't think either one of us hate each other. I know I don't hate her. I know she's disappointed and wants more for the boys. I do too. Um, but I've never not wanted to take care of my children, and that's the worst one. If they want to come pick me up because I'm not paying fines for jail, and put me into jail and add more fines to the fines that I couldn't already pay, and take me away from the opportunities of making money, it's not from a lack of not trying. The last time I looked, like a few weeks ago, I was at, just on Indeed alone, I had applied to 81 jobs. And only got called in for one interview at that point. A couple weeks ago, I got called in for my second interview, and it's an outpatient place, and I didn't, and I talked about this on Twitter, and I think I talked about this before in another podcast, but I didn't fit the requirements as far as having 2 years of sobriety. But I went in and held nothing back. I even took my big book in with me, and I tried to sell myself as best I could, because somebody on Twitter had said to me, and I think I mentioned this before in a previous podcast, but somebody had mentioned on Twitter that it was quality over quantity. And that really stuck with me. And that's something that's going to stick with me, because I do believe that, 5 days from now, when I hit 9 months, I would match up my 9 months, even with the past few weeks of me being down and feeling like there's no hope, and, not brushing my teeth, not making my bed. My bedroom was a disaster up until just a few minutes ago. Um, just everything else. I did everything that you shouldn't be doing, with the exception of drinking, but I couldn't help it. I knew what I was doing. I recognized what I was doing, and it wasn't good. And I just couldn't find the give a fuck to get up and to do these things up until this morning. Um, it was just too much. I just could not do it. So that's why there hasn't been a podcast in a minute, because I haven't felt like doing it, but I should have done it, because I want to document these things. So, because I want somebody that might listen to this and think, oh, well, this dude's doing a podcast, he's had guests on and doing all these things, it ain't so bad. Well, it is bad. I do have 4 OWIs. That's bad. I do have credit card bills that are in collection. I don't have a place of my own. I can't afford to pay my child support because I have no money coming in. I can't get a job, or I couldn't get a job up until recently. Nobody would take a risk on me because I don't have a license. So how the hell are you going to get there? And I just keep hearing over and over and over again, and like, oh, people don't want to work. Well, you know what? I wanted to work. I've applied in a million different places, and I've got shot down in a million different places up until this one. So they finally cut me a break. But again, I sit in this room right now. It's daylight. The shades are drawn to do the podcast, and to keep the heat out a little bit, because there's no AC in here. I just got a fan. But um, you know, these past few weeks, I've been waiting. I talked to my friends. I tried not to seclude myself from everybody. So I'd text message, I'd play games online a little bit, with my friends or whatever. And I talk to my kids every day. Um, but if I'm being honest, I couldn't wait for like 10, 11 o'clock at night when everybody's asleep. So I didn't have to pick up my phone and didn't have to talk to anybody. I haven't been on Twitter like I have been, barely at all, and still complete strangers are, I'd tweet a couple times here and there, just making myself get something out there. And the response was overwhelmingly awesome. You people on Twitter are fucking amazing. I had I don't know if you want to call it a counselor or therapy or whatever I had this morning, at 9 a.m. my time, and talked with a lady, and she was surprised to hear that Twitter is what it is, and how great of a recovery community is on that. And I mean, I couldn't say enough good things about Twitter and you folks in the recovery posse, and the one day at a time hashtags. Just thank you. So things got really dark, and today, excuse me, geez, I'm not gonna edit. Sorry, I'm drinking Dr. Pepper. I'm wearing a Dr. Pepper shirt. I'm burping. It is what it is. Um, so woke up this morning. I still don't feel like I want to do anything, but I got up. I actually got dressed. I vacuumed my room. I picked up all the pop cans that were, that I'd missed, putting them in the box. Um, the crumbs from around my seat, it was bad. It was really bad. And now I feel better. I watered my plants. Some plants were gifted to me a while back. They're still alive somehow. But I watered them. I got them up in the window, getting some sun today, and they haven't had sun in a long time. Um, so today is better. In part because of getting the job opportunity. Absolutely, that's a huge part of it. That helped give me an energy and a little boost that I needed to be able to force myself to do the things I don't want to do, like get dressed, like clean this fucking room. Um, Sometimes you need a little boost, a shot in the arm, or something good to happen. And when talking with my counselor today, and talking with Miley last night, um, or early this morning, I guess it was. Well, it was me sending her messages. I am very lucky. A year ago, I would have, if somebody would told me a year from now, you'll have a chance with Miley, your kids will be talking to you again, you will have been able to go to at least one game. Um, you would have an opportunity to work in the recovery field, and you have a podcast that's pretty successful for something early on with a dude that doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I would have taken that in a second. I've been so happy to hear that a year ago. And yet here I am with all these things that I would have taken in a second a year ago, still struggling. And it's not because I'm not appreciative. Sometimes I have to think about it. Somebody on Twitter had mentioned, you have to do a gratitude list. And, it sounds stupid, but saying the gratitude and the things that you're thankful for out loud can do so much. And to write them down and make yourself write them down on a piece of paper, when you're feeling like shit, it really does. So what I did the other night was I just, in my prayer meditation, what my time to talk to the universe, whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it God, you can call it God. That's totally whatever works for you. I don't do that, but if that works for you, then absolutely do it. And just be grateful for the things that you have, and leave it at that. Don't ask for anything. Don't, I didn't ask, typically I would ask the universe to watch over my kids and Miley and the people, my friends that I care about, and only ask for guidance for myself. But this particular night, I did not even ask for anything. I just said, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm not in a cage. Uh, I have a chance. I might have lost hope for a while. And I think that's to be expected from what I've learned in my experiences through treatment and meetings and everything. Life is not going to be easy. You are going to feel better. You're going to feel the good better, and you're going to feel the bad better. And that's how you get to learn how to deal with it. And realistically, at the end of the day, I'm only 9 months into this thing. So, um, uh, just to clarify, so on this job thing, I applied for a recovery coach position, which required 2 years of sobriety in order to do it. Um, the lady that did the interview, she went to bat for me, I believe. I don't know that, but I feel, just in the words that she used, that she did want me to work there and think that I could be helpful and beneficial to what they're trying to do. So I didn't get the recovery coach position. I got something that's a little lower than that, but you only need 6 months of sobriety to do. So I'm going to be, helping do monitoring and whatever else they ask me to do, and I'm going to kill it. And they're going to be glad to have me, and I'm going to be glad to be a part of the team. It's going to be a more of a part-time thing to start out with, but you know what? It's going to be money coming in. It'll be money that can go to the courts for my kids. It'll be, I can, even if I can throw $5 here and there at some of these fines that I got, that'll keep them off my ass. I won't have to worry about, these armed secretaries. Oops, no offense, sorry. Clearly, I have a bias there. I know that cops are just doing their job. It's not the cops that I'm annoyed with. It's the system that I'm annoyed with, and sometimes it comes out making it sound like I don't like cops, and that's not the case. They're just people like us. They're doing a job. They're doing the best they can. It's the system that is set up that we've allowed, that is broken and not helping anybody. But that's for another podcast and another time. But with it being part-time, I can continue to go to meetings and really focus on my recovery. I think this is a win-win-win-win-win. I can do more podcasts. I have, I'm going to appear on one here shortly, not today, but in the coming days. And then I have a guest coming on, published author, a couple times, I guess, bestseller. I look forward to hearing from her and what she has to say. And I look forward to setting some things up. I'm looking forward to inviting some guests that have been on earlier on, and kind of update everybody where they're at and how far they've come since the last time we chatted. I'm looking forward to do that. I'm looking forward to the future. This logo behind me, the Sober Heathen Podcast, has really been, it's, maybe this is silly, but it just popped in my head, so I'm going to let it come out my mouth. In the Batman movies with Christian Bale, Batman became a symbol, for the people, to give them strength and hope or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not Batman. I'm not saying that. But for me, this symbol means that to me. It encompasses everything. It's the guy rising up. He's going to something greater than him, which, UFO, it's the tech, itself, is greater. Um, it's a dude ascending, so if you didn't know, that is a UFO back there. I'm a huge paranormal guy and I love UFOs. And there's been some recent things that have come out, by the way, that you should look into. But anyway, trying to stay focused on this thing. No, but when I see the Sober Heathen logo that Mike Rocha made for me, by the way, Mike Rocha, is a friend of mine, and I actually coached him when he was in high school. But he made this for the podcast, and I don't know if he knows how big of a deal this is to me, and what seeing this thing hanging in my room all day, every day, what it means to me. It's a symbol to keep going, and I didn't create the logo, but I've been a part of something. Sober Heathen means something to me now, and when I see at the Sober Heathen podcast or whatever tagged on social media, that it means something to me, but it's greater than just like a feel good for myself. It's seeing like all the work that I put in these 9 months and the time before, to get to where I'm at. And it's a symbol that means a ton to me. Now if I could get these guys to jump on board and say, hey, I'd like to help you out, and by these guys, for the people that aren't watching the video, I'm pointing to my Dr. Pepper shirt, because I have a can of Dr. Pepper in my koozie, and on deck I have a 20-ounce Diet Dr. Pepper ready to go, in case the palate gets a little dry. But good news is I'm going to finish this up here and keep this one relatively short. Just want to end it again with thanking everybody for your support, not just my friends and family, that are around me every single day, all day, but the people that listen to this thing, that don't really know who I am. People on Twitter, you're amazing. I want to be here and continue to produce things that people like to listen to. And I think the best thing is to have, there's guests on here that have relapsed, that have been on here that have relapsed, but they're still out there fighting. They're on Twitter, they're owning their what they're doing, and they're talking about it. And I think that is so fucking cool. Obviously it's super cool to stay sober if you think you have a problem. And there's been guests that they weren't really sure if they had a problem. It's alcohol has caused problems, but they didn't know if it was something that they couldn't fix, or they could only fix by removing alcohol from their lives. That's their own decision and their own things to do. Me personally, I cannot have alcohol in my life and survive. I go back to alcohol, I will be dead. It's only a matter of time. So again, thank you for watching this. And if you're like, God, I keep forgetting to like, comment, subscribe, do all this, I'll do this. Please take a second to do that, to help the podcast grow, to get the stories that have been on here out there. They are super important to people. And you know what, hearing one thing can change the course. That one tweet of quality over quantity has stuck with me and gave me the confidence to go in there and to advocate for myself for the first time in a very long time, to say I am a good person, I am good at this stuff, I want, not only do I want to help people, but I know that I can. And I know that if I screw up, I know that I can make the changes and learn from it, and not let it beat me down. I haven't let, I've crawled out of I've been to hell and I've crawled my way out, and it hasn't been perfect and it hasn't been easy. It sucked ass, but I've done it, and I bring value to these things. Do I know everything there is? Hell no. Do I feel like I don't think I'm somebody special. That's not, but I know I am somebody, and that's a lot more than what I had a year ago. I'm somebody of value, and I can bring things to, my family, my children. And now I'm going to be employed again, with the first job with no reservations about whether I'm going to drink again. And, I was successful all the times when drinking was always in the back of my mind. Let's see what the fuck I can do uh, with a completely clear mind, with no focus on alcohol. Watch out. Anyway, have a great day, folks. Grab an ice cold Dr. Pepper. I salute you if you stayed sober today or yesterday and today and working on it today. You know what I mean? They're working on it today. Anybody that's celebrating a sobriety birthday, congratulations. Thank you so much for your support. Um, you all mean the world to me. We'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.